There's a couple people out there that I'm seeing that are so tapped in that they are levitating, and I've seen them levitate with my own eye.
How can people tap into their supernatural abilities?
I literally watched the guy's vision and his sight and his hearing come online. You're going to see new animals on the planet that you've never heard of before, new species on the planet that you've never seen before. You are going to see dragons returning back on the scene.
Well, what does that look like, first of all? What do you mean by leaving the matrix of people who are still in it?
And this is also the year of karma. This is also the karmic year. So people have to be very careful how they carry themselves this year, because the karma is coming back strong, triple the effect of what you normally would have gotten, and it's coming back fast.
Hey y'all, welcome back to Transformation to Expansion. I'm your host, Lajwa Bradley, and today we have a very, very, very special guest. Her name is Isis Wisdom. She is a chief priestess in Ifa and Olorisha, a quantum doctor and healer, lecturer and speaker, teaching people and guiding them back to themselves in totality using cosmic and metaphysical teachings. Okay, please welcome her to the show. How are you doing today, Isis?
I'm doing well. And yourself?
Great. I'm doing great. First of all, I want to start with your name. Okay, so Isis Wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
When was Isis Wisdom born? What was the story behind it? The transformation story behind it?
I was born. I'm originally from Maryland. I was born back in 1971. As far as my transformation was concerned, I could tell you it started with me when I was 5 years old, when I had the ability to communicate with the dead. My great-grandmother was the one who told me not to be afraid to communicate with the dead. I was having conversations with my great-grandfather, and I remember my great-grandmother asking me who I was talking to, and I told her, and she was tripping. And I was showing a picture, and I said, yeah, he's sitting over there in that rocking chair over there. So my great-grandmother was also a spiritualist. She also was, a healer. She's Indian, Cherokee Indian. She was like the medicine woman of our neighborhood when we were growing up as kids. So when somebody was sick, they would call my grandmother to come and treat them. So I kind of had that kind of influence. My great-grandmother raised me for the first 13 years of my life, even though I had both my parents, but she was the one that had the most influence on me at that time. Then from there, I just started living life like I'm supposed to. But I remember having a conversation with my dad, and I'll never forget this. I used to tell my dad when I was about 6 or 7 years old. I said, Dad, I know where I come from. He said, where? I said, Sirius. He said, oh, yeah? I said, yeah. And I would point to the sky. And I said, you see that star system up there? I said, that star system is Sirius. I said, that's where I come from. I always knew that I wasn't from here. I always knew that I came from Sirius. So spinning up from there, I got into the Orisha Pantheon, started learning. Well, even before I even got into the Orisha Pantheon, I started getting into spiritualism, being able to communicate more with those who passed on, helping people with those who passed on, things like that. I met two ladies. They were the ones who turned me on to it. And then from there, my path switched from there. And then I got into the Orisha tradition. And then from there, it just kind of took off from there. And I would say my first encounter, I would say that I had, my God, direct encounter was probably with the Anunnaki.
Oh, wow.
And that was the beginning of the journey for me on a whole different level. I did not realize that I had Anunnaki family. And at the time, I wasn't even communicating with my Anunnaki family. I was communicating with some other Anunnaki that didn't, let's just say didn't have the best interest for me at that time. But I didn't know any better. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, I'm actually having communication with the Anunnaki. I was hyped up, right? Like, wow, I'm having communication with the Anunnaki. Like, this is crazy. I'm trying to find something to relate to some degree, right? So I had that going on. And also during that time period in my spirituality, my priest said one of the things that was always consistent was me being in spiritual warfare a lot. And I didn't realize at the time that the first Ifa godfather that I ever had came through the Lukumi system. And he was in spiritual warfare. So he was the one who turned me on to spiritual warfare. And then next thing you know, I'm in spiritual warfare. And I'm like, okay, why are people coming for me? I ain't do nothing. But he said, you need to learn this process. You need to learn how to do this. You need to learn how to defend yourself. You need to learn this, learn that. So my teaching was very old school. You know, it's not like today. My teaching is very, very old school. My first Ifa godfather that I had was Puerto Rican. Okay. And he had a whole different concept about the tradition than I did.
Mm.
Okay. So during that time period, I remember seeing something in my mind's eye and I kept seeing the sword. And I'm like, what's the sword I keep seeing? And so one day I saw the sword again. I spoke out loud. I said, who is showing me this sword? And what is this sword about? I heard Michael.
Mm.
I paused for a minute and I'm like, Michael? Archangel Michael? He said, yes. I said, you have got to be kidding me. So from that point on, it was like a whole thing had opened up for me on a whole different level as far as dealing in the quantum realm. That was a whole different thing for me. Michael had explained to me at that time, he said, this sword, I want you to have this sword.
Mm.
You need to work with this sword. He says, it's good for the warfare that you're under. He says, I'm telling you, you need to get this sword. So I called a blacksmith. I ordered a sword. Michael actually took possession of the blacksmith and actually made the sword for me. This is how crazy this is. He actually made the sword for
Mm.
me. The company that was actually supposed to send the sword back was telling me at the time that it was going to take an additional 2 more weeks before I would get the sword. And I got that call from the Ancestral to move down to Mexico. I said, well, how the hell, what am I going to do now? I said, because I'm supposed to be leaving like literally in 2 days. Do you know that sword showed up on my doorstep the next day?
Wow.
The next day, after that man had called me on the phone and told me, the blacksmith quit his job. Michael said, nobody's allowed to make my sword but me.
Mm.
When I received that sword, I didn't see who dropped it off. Nobody saw who dropped it off. The weird part about that was that the screen door was closed, but the main door was open, but nobody saw who dropped the box off. My mom said, hey, there's a box here. It's a tall box. I'm looking at the box. I said, I know that can't be my sword. We open it up and it's a
Mhm.
sword. And I couldn't believe it. And the sword had a tremendous amount of energy on it. And it really bugged me out. Now the sword had Michael's name on it written in Hebrew, and it had his seal on it.
Mhm.
And then also it had some gold, it had some a gold handle to it.
Mhm.
So from there, it was hearing the sword talk to me. That was a whole nother thing. Hearing the sword talk to me. I said, hold up, you can talk?
Mhm.
What the hell's going on right now?
Mhm.
So from that point on, I had went and talked to the Orishas about it, and they said, yes, these angels are also your family. You need to go spend time with your family. And so from that point on, that's when my whole world opened up to a whole different level. It was a whole different thing for me. So I've had a lot of different journeys since then, a lot of growth since then. Um, I spent a lot of time with the angels. They trained me a lot. The Orishas also trained me a lot about the quantum. And so that's kind of like how I got. I kind of give you the short version of the story because there's a lot to tell, but that's pretty much how I got there. The Orisha's taught me about the quantum, and the angels taught me about some things.
Oh my God, that's amazing and incredible, and like you're so tapped in, and I feel like this is how we all are going to be living soon, right? Like
That is correct.
this is the truth of the world that we live in. You know, we just again the veil has been covered, but it's getting lifted, and it's gonna be a very dramatic reveal. Like I feel like people are like not ready, but it's okay. So I just love.
Well, yeah, it's happening now. People are starting to see, and I talked about that in my 2024 predictions this year, where I talked about people are going to start seeing the unseen.
Yeah. Yep. Mhm.
So people need to get prepared for that. They are, and people are seeing the unseen. There's a lot of things that are going on right now. A lot that's going on. The veil is being lifted, and it's going to continue to be lifted. But this is on a different level.
Yeah.
We're going to see some things that we've never seen before.
Yeah. Especially this year, right? 'Cause it's 8 years, so this is like all about the truth
Yeah,
being revealed. So, and it's
and this is also the year of karma. This is also the karmic year. So people have to be very careful how they carry themselves this year because the karma is coming back strong, triple the effect of what you normally would have gotten, and it's coming back fast.
hmm
There's no wasting of time. So yeah. And this is also the year of the dragon.
right. Oh, so let's talk about so what do you mean by watching their karma? So is it like be careful what you do now, or like is it more like you know reflecting on like the past and then realizing like I don't know like maybe like in 2020, I was really depressed and I was always angry at, I guess, my family member. Now I have to be nice. Like, what do you mean by like what's kind of yeah.
Well, karma is all about action. That's what karma is, the actions that you take. So in this particular year, people need to be very careful about the actions that they're taking, especially towards other
Mm-hmm.
people, because this is also the year of not only karma, but this is also the year where people are going to be very cruel to others. This is also the year of betrayal, where family members and friends are going to be betraying each other. People that you were solid with for a long time, all of a sudden turns around and flips the script and stabs you in the back without no explanation, and you don't know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw that play out already coming into the new year. I've seen that play out. I've seen that play out even in my own personal life. I've seen that play
Mm-hmm.
out. So that is that. So what's happening is people that are not operating in their heart space and they're seeking to hurt others, that energy is turning around and it's coming back and it's visiting them on their doorstep. But when it visits, it's way worse than what it would have been, let's say, a year ago.
Okay, so what you're saying is like the ideal is to sit in your heart space, maybe force yourself if you need to have some compassion. Because
Well, no, it's not about forcing yourself. It's about healing the heart space. This is the year that people should be healing their heart space.
okay.
No one should be walking around here and carrying around traumas and pain that they've been carrying around for years and years and years. The question has to be asked: when do you say, I'm going to take accountability for my hurt, my pain, and my traumas, and I'm going to do something about it?
Mm.
So this is the year that people should be working on their heart space, and they should remain in their heart space. There's nothing forceful about that. It's only forceful for people who are not healing. If you're healing, it's very easy to operate in your heart space, but you got to do the work.
Well, since you mentioned it, let's talk about healing real quick. So, healing,
Mhm.
I always advocate people to intentionally heal because
That is
people, they
correct.
get caught in a healing loop for years, and I tell them like that's not what you want to do. You want to go through it once and then exit, right? That once could be 1 year for you, it could be a couple of years for you, but I always tell people it is up to you, right, to really determine how long you
Hmm.
want to be in that space. Um,
Hmm.
and then from there, once you get out of those healing loops, then you start to evolve, right? But people get like
Hmm.
they think that healing is evolving and it's not the same thing. So can you break that down real quick? Like what is the difference between healing and then evolving?
Well, healing will evolve you. Healing will evolve you. It's going to expand your consciousness. You can't see things from a proper perspective if you have a bunch of stuff still carrying around in your heart space. And what's not talked about is that healing is actually a lifestyle. You got to actively heal. Now, can you take breaks from it? Of course, I take breaks from it. Ice is not sitting around 24/7 days, 7 days a week, sitting up here healing every single day. But what I can tell you is that there's not a day that doesn't go by where I'm not present with self,
Mm,
because you got to be present with self. You have to be present with your own energy. If you go through something, let's say some people portray you that you really love, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Let's say that happens because that you're living your daily life, right? Okay, you go through that process of grieving. You acknowledge the pain that you've been through, but it's deeper than that. I got to do shadow work on that.
mm,
So, like a situation I just went through during the solar eclipse. Some things that happened with some folks I really cared about, but I saw their shadows come out right after that solar eclipse. That was during the time of the first great split that took place, right? I had to heal from that because it was very devastating because I met all of my soul tribe, my whole family. You know what I'm saying? And then I lost like half my family members because they weren't in the healed space,
mm,
right?
mm-hmm,
So if you're operating in destruction, if you're operating in chaos, that is dangerous to someone who's actively healing.
mm,
So I had to do shadow work just to come up out of the sadness and the darkness that I was in for that short period of time. So what does healing do? Or what does shadow work do? It helps keep your shadow at bay.
mm,
That's what it does.
mm-hmm.
And so I do talk about that to people and let them know you got to look at this from a standpoint of adding it as a part of your life. In other words, it becomes a lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And once you do that, then it's easier for you to operate in your heart space more. When you're dumping the dense energy out of your heart space, it's easy, especially for us women, because we are the divine feminine. What does it mean to be in the divine feminine? It means you're operating from your heart. There's a lot of us that's in our masculine.
Mm-hmm.
We're supposed to be balancing those energies out. We're not supposed to just be in our masculine. We're supposed to be more in our feminine, our creativity. That's what changes the world. Love is what changes the world. So when you're actively healing, you can tap into that frequency of love more. And then you can be a guide to show others how to do the same when you're operating in that space.
Mm-hmm.
You don't respond to things the same way you used to anymore when you see foolishness taking place because you have an understanding that it doesn't even have anything to do with you. You're able to recognize the projections when they're coming at you, and you realize it doesn't have anything to do with you. So you can deal with those situations a lot differently than you would, let's say, if you were from an unhealed space. We've seen what that's like. When our community is operating in an unhealed space, we see what that's like. We see how destructive and how chaotic we can become, right? But what happens when? But how do we resolve that? Do we continue to keep doing the same things over and over again, or do we evolve out of that? So the only way that you're going to evolve out of that and expand your consciousness is that you got to get rid of the density in your heart space, so you can see things from a different perspective. There's a difference between seeing things from an unhealed set of eyes and seeing things from a healed set of eyes. It's a total different thing going on there.
Mm-hmm. And I love that you use the word healed, right? This is like the point where people want to get to. You want to say, I am healed. You don't want to always be like, healed.
There's no such thing. It doesn't exist. And I'm not going to blow smoke up your butt and tell you otherwise. You will never be healed for this lifetime. Healing is a thing that takes place for the rest of your life and then the lifetimes you have after that. You want to know why? Because you are a multidimensional being. You are not linear. What do I mean by that? You have aspects, which are different reincarnated versions of who you are that live within you. You may have a dragon aspect. You may have an angelic aspect. You may have a goddess aspect. Now, who you are in your totality, I can tell people that because I have the ranking to be able to do so to tell you who you are.
Mm-hmm.
But then who you are decide to have many different experiences. Why? Because they are also a part of source. We were created from source, right? Every human being is source. People don't realize this, but we are. Now, that being said, let's just say you're the goddess such and such. But the goddess such and such decided she wanted to have a whole bunch of different experiences. Those different experiences and those different reincarnated versions of who you are still live within you and make up your personality.
Mm-hmm.
What people don't know is they have the ability to talk to those different aspects of themselves. This is what we mean when we say you got to go within to get your answers.
Right.
So if you come to me and you give me a book and say, I want you to read this book, I'm gonna read the book. But then I'm going to pick up on certain things. I may pick up on distortion, or I may pick up that that's not the entire story. I'm reading somebody else's story, which is nothing more than a program. Now, how do I get the full story without all the extra distortion? I'm going to go inward and talk to the aspect that knows about this. That aspect is going to give me the information I need to get access to, right? So because you have access to these different aspects, you're not only healing the trauma that you've been through in this lifetime, then you begin to start healing the trauma that you experienced in previous lifetimes for those aspects so they can heal. So when you hear me, when you read about the thing about me guiding people back to themselves in their totality, this is what I'm talking about. There are programs that I have where I lead people back to themselves in their totality of who they are. This is how you tap into your gifts because each aspect has a gift. Some of us has ancient Egyptian aspects. I have an ancient Egyptian aspect. There's gifts with the ancient Egyptian aspect. There's gifts with this angelic aspect. There's gifts with the Anunnaki aspect. There's gifts with the goddess aspect. This is how we tap into our gifts. But our gifts sit within the heart space. That's the way Source designed us. Why? Because before, what we were doing was we were being destructive. So in the cosmos, there's no war taking place in the cosmos from the 10th dimension and up. There's no warring taking place up there anymore. Why? Because they're all operating under unity consciousness. From the 9th dimension and down, that's when all the warring and all the hierarchies and all that crazy stuff is still going on. All the chaos, all the distortion, all that's taking place from the 9th dimension and down. And not many people realize this. But in the higher realms, it's unity consciousness. And that's what's being brought down now upon not just humanity, but this is taking place all over the cosmos and different galaxies.
Right. Yeah, because it's all connected. People they want to separate everything, but yeah, like we talked about earlier, it's all
Yes.
connected. So let's talk about the higher dimensions. Well, first of all, do
Mm-hmm.
you know how many dimensions there are? Because I feel like some people they have.
999 dimensions.
Okay. Oh my God. Okay, let's talk about that.
No, this land is nowhere near the 999th dimension. And you got to take consideration. I really want you to think about this. And I'm about to drop some science that you've never heard
Okay.
before. The majority of the people that's on this planet is in a fallen state.
Mm-hmm.
If there's 999 dimensions and you're only on the third, let that sink in for a minute. Let's let it sit there. Okay? So you got to continue to evolve to get to the higher dimensions. That requires the healing so you can jump the timelines. There are 33 timelines to every dimension. Okay? So you would have to literally leap 33 timelines to get to the next dimension. So for those who are operating in third dimension, you got 66 timelines before you can get to the fifth.
Right. Okay.
Now, when we're talking about fifth dimension, we're talking about a 5D state of consciousness. That's what we're talking about here. A 5D state of consciousness. That's what we're operating off of here. Okay. So humanity and where we're at right now in this particular realm, and Earth has a lot of realms. And that's a whole nother thing that's not being talked about. Earth has a lot of realms, a lot of different realms. Okay. But right now, you are between the third and the fourth dimensional realm. The fourth dimensional realm is called Tara. Earth is 1, 2, and 3. Tara is 4, 5, and 6. So we're all heading into most of the people are now heading into the fourth dimension, but there's still a good bit of them that are still in the third dimension because they won't let the materialistic things go. And they don't want to let go of the matrix and how things are done in the matrix. So those people are staying in the third dimension. Then you have people that are caught up between the third and the fourth in the state of consciousness. Then you have people that are now in the fourth. I'm operating out of the fifth, headed to the sixth because of the healing that I'm doing.
Okay, so let's talk about the matrix real quick and exiting the matrix, right? Well, what does that look like? First of all, what do you mean by leaving the matrix, or people who are still in it?
The old programming that everybody's been operating under. People have been operating under the old programming of divide and conquer, hierarchies. That's all old programming. Control systems. That's old programming. I want you to think about how things were when you were growing up. Everything that you ever knew when we were operating in the age of Pisces. Pisces was hidden. A lot of things were hidden. Aquarius is exposing everything right now, right? You see a lot of things coming to the forefront since we got into the age of Aquarius. So you have these old systems, old way of doing things. People are still thinking that the elections is actually going to affect their lives. You know what I'm saying? With them not realizing this is a corporate system. That's matrix. People still want to be ruled over. People still want to be told what to do. And that's why I'm very silent when I hear people say, well, I'm a god this and I'm a goddess. I get very silent about that because I'm thinking to myself, but you're still looking for answers outside of yourself. You're still looking to be led by people outside of yourself. You're still looking to be told what to do. And on top of that, you don't think for yourself. And that's problematic. You cannot be a god and not have the ability to think for yourself.
Yeah.
That's impossible. It doesn't even make any sense. Or looking for somebody to tell you what to do. But you're going to somebody outside of you to tell you what to do, to tell you how to live your life. So when people ask me for advice, I said, go to your heart space and ask your heart space.
Yeah, you have to go within. Everything is within. People don't.
That
They
is
want
correct.
to. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna talk about this because I'm like it's like so in alignment. But yeah, it's like people they even I'm guilty of this too, right? And early in my journey, like well, I don't want to say early, like even a couple of months ago, I had like this moment where I was like going out, and now I'm like, what was I doing? I know better, but I was like, okay, whatever. We went through it. We done with it. Like it's not just like what I learned because I'm studied for like 3 months, which isn't really a lot, but I studied meditation with monks in Thailand, and that's one of the things that I learned is it's all within. It's all within because I was doing all of these different types of meditation, and one of them is Vipassana, where you're quiet for like 10 days, but I did 23 days. Anyway, so I had a friend of mine she had her healing journey, and she went to all of these ayahuasca retreats and stuff for like 6 years, and she didn't get the answers that she needed to release the her shadows until she sat down and reflected. Like that, it was crazy, because again, it's just another lesson of like, it is literally all within. If you can just take the time to go within. But the thing is, we've been programmed to not like being with ourselves, to not, not enjoy meditation, because we've been programmed to like to hate our thoughts. But no, we've just been programmed to not like being alone. And you need to go be alone to go within, to get connected to who you truly are, right? So I just love, I really appreciate that you said that, because I feel like, people are talking about the healing journey, and there's a lot of spiritualists who are talking about the healing journey and talking about, being one with God. But even when I decided, this was at the beginning of this year, I decided, I was like, no, all I need is myself. I can just go within. I was met with resistance from other people who were healers.
Get started on your wellness journey today. Whether you are starting your wellness journey, in the middle of it, or finishing it, this library will help you so much to jumpstart your wellness. And really, it has so much more than that. It has full guides on how to quantum leap, full guides on how to manifest, and even my personal favorite, coloring books. Yes, and I'm talking unique coloring books. Y'all already know who you're dealing with, okay? We have baobab coloring books, cactus plant coloring books, and so much more. And it's completely free. So please make sure to check it out, especially if you're on your wellness journey, or if you know a friend who is on the wellness journey and wants some free resources, please let them know about the wellness library, okay? The link is in the show notes below. I love y'all so much. Let's get back to the show.
That has to be placed in its proper perspective. And let me explain to you what I mean by that. Of course, you're always going to go inward to get all your answers. This is true. But when it comes to you going on your journey, you're going to need assistance from that perspective when you're going on certain journeys. So, like, for example, let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. It depends on the level of consciousness that you're actually operating out of. So if you're operating in a certain state of consciousness and you really get to really tap into your true self, things start happening, such as missions. You might start getting assignments and things of that nature. You have to be trained on how to properly channel. If you don't know how to properly channel, how you gonna learn how to properly channel? How do you know that who you're talking to is who you're talking to? You're not going to know that until you're talking to the people that have the experience in it. So you're going to need someone like an elder that has that type of experience to train you on how to do these types of things. Because people are just all out here willy-nilly talking all types of stuff and talking all types of distortion. So when I'm listening to a person, they're telling me, oh, I channel such and I think I'm such and such, off the rip, I'm going to feel through my heart space if that's even what it really is. And then I'll have to tell the person, well, I don't know about that. I'm going to tell you the vibe that I'm seeing. I'm going to tell you the vibe I'm picking up on. I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm looking at. And I'm going to let them know. Does this resonate more? Well, yeah, that does resonate more. I said, exactly. I said, so you're trying to gravitate towards this energy without understanding the energy that you're trying to gravitate towards, or the energy that you're calling in that is not of you. Okay, so you have to have, you do have to have some guidance. And then as you continue to progress, then, and even with that, because I mean, I've been in this for 25 years. Now I'm going to go in and get my answers every single time when it comes to verification and things like that. But if I'm on a mission, I need a team of people, fam, because it's tricky out here in them kind of the streets. That's no joke. People won't know who's talking to them. You're going to have folks pulling up on you that you think have your best interests at heart. Next thing you know, you talking to false light, don't even know you're talking to false light. So was you trained? No, you need another set of eyes to tap in with you to make sure that whoever you're talking to is really who you're talking to. Or if you have distortion, you might need that. I had someone tell me one time, and it was the funniest thing, because I saw a big ass archon on their back. This person literally told me, oh yeah, I'm going through an upgrade right now. I'm going through this, and this, and I'm feeling a whole lot of burning energy on my back and on my arms and things like that. And I was like, yeah, that's because you got a big archon on your back, and that archon is literally starting to dig its claws into your hands, and that's the reason why you're burning. They were embarrassed. Right? But this is what I mean when I say when you're operating in certain spaces, you're going to have other people that have the eyes to be able to see. Normally, these people would be somebody to you like a soul tribe. These are soul tribe. These are people that's been your family all throughout many lifetimes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's your soul tribe. When you run into these people, you're going to know who they are. You're going to be able to pull down the Akashic records and look at them and be like, "Oh, okay, I know who you are." And remembrances start coming online. Like I'm starting to have flashbacks of this in this lifetime when we did this and this and this and all that kind of stuff starts happening. But things I'm talking about is of course on a higher level.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just letting you know. Yes, go within every single time to get your answers every single time. But if you ever start branching out into other things,
Mm-hmm.
that's what they mean when they say you're going to need some help or you're going to need some guidance, because you are.
Okay.
You are going to need that assistance. You can't do that by yourself. We've seen people try to come and do that stuff by themselves and get themselves twisted. I'm like, okay, you could do it by yourself if you're focusing on you and you're working on yourself. That you can do by yourself, right? But if you start talking about going out here and doing other things for the collective, then you're going to need to be like, for instance, we build grids. We build powerful crystal grids that affect the entire planet. Okay. Well, how did I learn how to do that? Okay, we might get guidance from our spirit guides and they tell us, okay, and pay attention. Getting guidance from our spirit guides, you're still talking to somebody to get the help.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to give us the information, or we might get a download, or we might get a flash, or we might get something that's going to show us something. But then who's instructing us on how to set the grid up and where to set the grid up at? We got to be taking orders from someone to be able to do that, right? You're on assignment. We need you to do X, Y, and Z for this to have this type of effect for the planet in this particular area, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Usually when people are doing this type of work, it's a team. It's not a one-man show.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm just telling you from that perspective. That's probably what they were trying to tell you. They may not have been able to explain to you better. So I just want to kind of give you that information. But always go within to get your answers every single time, no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that was the thing. I was trying to get guidance from other people. Yeah, and it's funny because I was doing an I Ching reading, and one of the readings was like, look, when you go for guidance for somebody else, and it was just guidance on like mundane things. Like it was like, should I move? Should I not move? What should I do? Like it was stuff like that. Yeah, it wasn't spiritual. Yeah.
Oh,
So,
okay,
but
yeah.
the I Ching was like, if you ask for guidance, you're gonna get their perspective. You're gonna get their opinion of what you should do, right, from there. And so it was like kind of a little lesson for me too, because a lot of the guidance I was given, I was like, I did it, but it wasn't working, and it's because it wasn't in alignment because I didn't go in.
Well, there's also the issue of discernment within our community. You have to discern these things too. You don't just go out here and talk to anybody out here. It's got to be somebody that's in alignment with what you're on and what you're trying to accomplish. Okay, so if you're not discerning the people, then yeah, the information that they're giving you is not in alignment with where you are. So that's a whole different ballgame. So just keep in mind there's other components that added on to that as to the reason why you may have attracted that. But if you're discerning the individuals, and how do you discern? Use your heart space. Feel. That says feel right to me to work with this person. You're going to be able to tell by utilizing your heart space. See, what the problem is, we're so used to operating out a logical brain. That's the masculine. We're not spending enough time in our heart space, which is the feminine. So, like, how many times have you tried to figure out a problem in your head and you could not come to a resolution to the problem because you were spending so much time overthinking and in your head? That's because you weren't supposed to go to your head to get the answers. You were supposed to go to your heart space to get the answers.
So let's talk about that real quick. What does that look like in the moment, right? So yeah, let's say what's an example? Let's say okay, so let's say you're trying to figure out where to relocate, right? Because one of the biggest blocks for a lot of people is their environment. This is one thing that it's their environment. They need to get
Big
out of their
time.
environment. So I know I need to get out of my environment. How do I set into my heart space? Or how would you set into your heart space or get into your heart space and get out of your head in terms of determining where to go to next?
First of all, I would look at the locations that I'm supposed to go to. Now, there's different methodologies in terms of how you go about doing this. One methodology is called Astro-chotography. That's one thing you can do.
Yeah.
Astro-chotography. I love Astro-chotography. My daughter does that. She's really dope at it. And I check to see is the energies of those areas conducive for my energy. because just because a place may look nice or whatever doesn't mean it's conducive to my energy, right? So I may tap in. I might do some astro-chotography. I may communicate with my ancestors. If I go in and communicate to my heart space, I'm going to ask my heart space, and my heart space may show me a vision. Okay, I might get a vision from my heart space, or I may talk to one of myselves and be like, "What's your opinion about something?" And I'll call down maybe several different versions of myself to come and speak to me and communicate with me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But that's me still going with things. I'm talking to self. You know what I'm saying? Um, I will feel and I will resonate when I travel to the location. So I don't just say, okay, I'm going to look at this place and this is where I'm going to go. No. Before I left in 2020 to come to Mexico, the first thing I did was I went to Mexico for vacation before I moved. That's how I was able to make the decision to relocate, because I was already vacationing in certain parts of Mexico, and I liked the vibe and the energy and the feel that was giving me in these certain particular places. I was resonating with it. Well, when I was looking at other places, this doesn't resonate. I don't feel it. I'm not feeling it here, but I feel it here. If I go to this place right here, I feel it right here. Slow and behold, that's exactly where I was supposed to be at.
Yeah, so sometimes it takes visiting the place first, seeing how it is, and then okay.
I would never recommend anyone just to look at something on the map and say, I'm going to go relocate there. That makes entirely no sense to me. I would never do that. You have to get the feel for the environment. You have to know the environment. You have to feel the energy. You know what I'm saying? You have to say, okay, does this seem like an area that I could really prosper and grow in? What's it like at nighttime? What's it like during the daytime? What's it like at morning time? How do I feel when I'm in this area? How do I feel? Do I feel like this place could be very good for me energetic wise? Or do I feel a certain type of way? Or does this place make me feel a certain kind of way? You know what I'm saying? So always remember to always travel to the areas that you're looking at. Just don't look at a map and say, this is where I'm going to go. You got to actually go and do some of the work and go check out the area for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, I just show up, but it's cool. I don't know. Sometimes it's like a lesson, and it's like, but because I'm really good at problem solving. So if something pops up, I figure it out and I get out of there if I need to get out of there, and I finesse it. I figure it out. So, but I know not everybody.
I think in time and experience, you're going to learn after a while, when you go through those situations enough time, you're going to get tired of that. You know what I'm saying? You're young. So because you're young, it's like, I'm going to go explore the world and just check stuff out. But okay, as an older woman who's actually traveled the world and been to many different countries, I can honestly say, been there, done that, got the t-shirt. So you learn to become smarter in your movements. You don't just go out there and do all that stuff anymore like you used to. You start playing your stuff out a whole different way. So that's just experience talking. That's all that is.
Okay, I appreciate that. Yeah, and I recognize that too, because like I said, yeah, I'm young, but I like adventure. I love, so I'm still at that age. We'll put that age that yeah, like it's great. But I know, like, once I have kids, that's gonna change real quick.
That's gonna shut down. Your whole life gonna shut down after that. Your whole everything gonna change after that, honey. Trust me when I tell you, it's gonna be a whole different thing going on there. Because now you're not thinking about just yourself. You're thinking about this other life. That's you. That's an extension of who you are.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I'm like already talking to, yeah, actually a lot of like women who I do not want kids right now, though. I do not want kids right now, because it's like I still want to have my little time, But I'm having a lot of people are being introduced to me. I have a lot of new friends and stuff who have kids and who are kind of telling me the truth about traveling. Like I just met this woman who she was like me when she was younger, and then she's like, once you have kids, you start thinking differently. She was like, I can't travel with just me and my kids, because what if something happens to me? What are my kids gonna do? And I was like, well, I never thought about that,
Yeah, it's like that. It's really like that. You will think 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 times before you make certain moves. You're just not going to just get up and be spontaneous and move like that. There's a certain type of maturity, and there's a certain type of instincts that kick in when you become a mother before the child is even born. Once the child is born, it really kicks into overdrive. So you're going to become a lot more spiritual too after that.
Okay, so real quick, we're gonna shift gears. I want to talk about the human evolution. because a lot of people, they talk about the Aquarian age and they talk about the evolution of tech, but people aren't really talking about the evolution of like, or the upgrade of the human experience, as someone put it. So what are some of the things that people can expect in terms of like human evolution and human involvement in the next like 10, 20, 30 years?
Yeah, there's gonna be a cap. I'm gonna let y'all know right now. There's gonna be a cap off. There's gonna be a cap on that tech, just so y'all know. That
Oh,
tech isn't going to be
okay.
here that long. Not anything that's considered to be inorganic won't not be here long on this planet. Remember, artificial intelligence is mimicking natural intelligence, which is source. So let me tell you how technologically advanced source is. Source is so technologically advanced that you live on the planet. That's a 3D holographic universe. Okay, think about that. You're living in a 3D, well now 4D holographic universe. And so every experience that you have is a simulation. And you have the power to shut that simulation and shut down any experience that you're having at that moment, especially if it's negative. Did you know that? I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to do an exercise with you so you can experience this for yourself.
Okay.
I want you to tell me for yourself give me something that's just been like something that's just been, I don't know, whatever it is. It, like, let's say it could be an issue of poverty. It could be an issue of negative boyfriends. It could be, just give me something that's been really getting at you, that you just been having a hard time just trying to get out of.
Good. Well, it's not like this anymore since I got to Bali, but one of the things this past year, it's the beginning of this year that I struggled with uh, was, you know, I built my business, but then like I wasn't receiving money via my business, right? So that was one, but it's kind of, it's getting unblocked now. But anyway, so that was one. So we can use that one.
Okay, now let me ask you a question. Can you tell me what you think was blocking you from making money?
One of the blockages was just focusing on lack instead of just focusing on the abundance that I already had too.
Okay, so then you was living in a simulation of lack. You were living in a simulation. Okay, so if you were living in a simulation of lack, you was probably living in quote unquote a simulation of poverty, where you feel like there's a certain mentality that we all have, this thing where we think that we have to go through certain things in order for us to get the bigger things, when it's not true.
Yeah, because that's what we're taught though. That's what everybody's saying not everybody, right? But that's what a lot of gurus and like rich people say, you have to go through this. So I had the mentality of like, oh, I have to like, you know, give up my like fabulous lifestyle in order to make my business like flourish, which was not the case at all, right? But anyway.
Your fabulous lifestyle is what keeps you manifesting all the things that continue to make you fabulous. But what we're going to do is we're going to shut down all the simulations of lack. I want you to repeat these words after me. I want you to say, Source.
Source.
I need you.
I need you.
To shut down all simulations.
To shut down all simulations.
Of lack.
Of lack.
Poverty.
Poverty.
Stress.
Stress.
And fear of not having enough.
And fear of not having enough.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Boom! Now, pay attention to your feeling. What are you feeling?
Yeah, I feel great.
Did you feel an energy? Did you feel an energy?
A little bit. Yeah.
Okay, what did you feel?
I felt like, I felt like a little energy. So like, I don't know, just knowing. That's like the only thing that I can, yeah.
Did you feel, when you said that you felt the energy, was it like a wave of energy that you felt? Was it a jolt? Was it chills? Okay, so what was it?
This farm isn't just any farm. It grows for Juice Plus. Juice Plus is farm-to-capsule nutrition made from 30 different non-GMO fruits, vegetables, and berries. Harvested at peak goodness to make nutrient-rich plant powders in convenient capsules. Clinically proven for over 20 years to support your wellness. It makes it easy to help bridge the gap between what you should eat and do eat. Fruits and vegetables are always on the table with Juice Plus. Juice Plus. Goodness is our natural state.
I don't know. It was like just, I guess, nothing. I don't know how else to explain it. Yeah. Like it was just like yeah, just a knowing. Like I didn't feel anything physically, but just in my mind, I was like, yes, this is the truth. Yeah.
Okay, so then I'm going to assess you right quick.
Oh.
How much time do you spend in your heart space? Because you literally just ended your entire simulation, but you were supposed to feel that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now there's several things that's the reason why a person doesn't feel.
Mm-hmm.
If they're disconnected from their heart space through the trauma.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want you to take a step back and I want you to think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Or there is also something called implants, which also can affect the feeling neurals,
Mm-hmm.
okay, to prevent you from feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But but what I'm picking up on is that something going on within the heart space.
Mm-hmm.
How much time do you spend thinking than feeling? And be honest.
Yeah, probably more thinking than feeling. Like, yeah. But yeah, I need to do more intentional feeling, I think is what. And you spend more time. I do wake up, like I have changed that in the morning. Like I do, like one of the things that I do now is dancing in the morning, which has been, it's crazy because like at the club, I love to dance, but trying to do this intentional work around like waking up in the morning, dancing and really feeling it, it's good. I mean, it took me 6 months to get here, but but I'm doing it. But I need to do more of it, right? And then one of the things is swimming in the ocean too. And I don't know. I was sick this past week, so anyway.
They're the best. That's the best spiritual baths you can take is the ocean baths. When you get in the water and you allow the mother of the water to come in and cleanse you off.
Mm-hmm.
That's really good. That's one I tell people all the time. That's the best spiritual bath you can take. It's the one either at the river or the one in the ocean.
Yeah.
It's the best one.
Mm-hmm.
You'll notice your energy shift when you go to the ocean and you get in the water. Okay. And if now I don't know how connected you are to nature, but I can tell you from what I do, water the water comes and greets me.
Mm.
Like people literally see the water. They're like, yo, the water's coming up and greeting you. I said, of course. I said, that's mother.
Mm-hmm.
That's Maya.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's other water deities as well. But when I come to the water, I'm coming to meet my mother, Yemaya. And she always meets me at the water. And she always greets me at the water.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll say, Mom, I'm here to get cleaned off. And boy, that's it. Once that starts happening, that's it. That she gets there tossing my behind up in that water. And it's a fun experience to go through that because I'm laughing and giggling.
Yeah.
She's rolling me around and tumbling me around all in the water with the waves and stuff like that. But just before I got there wasn't nothing going on with the water.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's the power that we have as indigenous people when we start stepping back into nature and tuning ourselves in back with nature.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah. I'm tearing up because it's like that's the same experience I have every time I'm in the water. It's just like everything is gone, and I'm kind of in that, like, I guess monks call beginner's mind, but it's like I call it like kid mode, like because we really are like children of God. But anyway, so I'm back in that mode, and I'm just like happy. Like I cannot be unhappy in the ocean. Like it's just like it's so like. I become like a lot more playful when I'm in the ocean because it's just, I don't know, it's the ocean, right? Like I don't know how else to explain it, but.
So bringing it back to the technology aspect, I just simply wanted to show you how advanced natural intelligence is by you having the ability to be able to shut down the simulations. I would definitely have you take a look into your heart space a little bit more so you can start working on your feeling and come out of here and spend more time in here so you can really start feeling things.
Mm-hmm.
Now, from that point on, once you actually end the simulation, everything stops in terms of what you were doing unless you go back to that mentality again. The moment you decide that you're going to start worrying about those types of things is the moment you create another simulation. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So your simulation is just your experiences that you're having, but you have the ability to shift out the experience that you're having just by a shift in perspective and how you're seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what is going to happen with the collective? What is going to happen with humanity? People are going to start holding quantum services for healing. People no longer, the doctors and how we deal with doctors today is in terms of Western medicine is going to phase completely out. No one's going to be running to the doctor talking about, I needed you to give you these pills to clear this up and clear this out and all that. That won't be a thing anymore. Right now, there's technology right now that you could put the crystal together and create yourself a whole med bed. Period. Your crystals actually have the ability to communicate to you. Most people do not know that crystals talk. You have what you call crystal elders. They also can talk to you. We have a crystal realm. There are crystal realms, okay, that you can tap into. And those crystals will come and communicate to you and tell you how to build your med bed. We're doing it. We have done it. Okay. So there's going to be a lot of that new technology. It's not really new technology. It's technology has always been around. It's just that it's new for us because we're coming into this. But what you're going to start discovering is as you begin to start tapping more into yourself, what you're going to start realizing is that this stuff has already been a part of you. It's always been a part of you. So what are people going to do? People are going to start becoming more tapped in. People are going to start tapping more into their gifts. People are going to choose to heal. A lot of the collective is choosing to heal. And so people are going to be operating in that space because in order for you to get to 5D, you have to be healing. That's specifically what 5D is for. It is for those who are healing. So in order for this planet to shift, people have to work on their heart spaces because you're not going to get to 5D with density in your heart space. It's not going to happen. Okay. So as people continue to heal and dump out their heart space, the more blissful things are going to become for everybody. The more at peace, the more people are going to start showing love for one another because they're operating out of their heart space. You're going to start seeing more rainbow portals in the sky and rainbows in the sky and different colors of purples and different colored rainbow colors in the sky. You're going to see other planets in the sky, which is something that we didn't have before. Okay, because they're too busy spraying the skies and putting fake clouds up in the sky, so you can't see a lot of things in the sky that you're supposed to see. All that's going to stop soon. That won't be happening anymore. So you're going to be able to start seeing those things. You're going to start seeing more than one moon. You're going to start seeing like 6 or 7 moons. You're going to start seeing more than one sun. You might see 3 or 4 or 5 different suns. You might see more than 2 or 3 planets. You might see a bunch of planets floating around. Okay? All this interference that they're doing is just to keep you tapped into the matrix and keep you disconnected from yourself. That's all that's about. So a lot of that's going to change. You're going to see new animals on the planet that you never heard of before, new species on the planet that you've never seen before. You're going to see that. You are going to see dragons returning back on the scene. They're not going to be large like what we see on TV because that would scare the crap out of people, but you're going to start seeing them at least the size of an eagle. And you're going to see them flying around and you're going to see them and you're going to start tripping like, what? Did I just see a dragon just fly right past me? Are you serious right now? Yes, you're going to start seeing things like that. So it's going to become more, it's going to become more mystical. It's going to become more about love. It's going to become more about unity consciousness. That's where we're heading in the next 15 to 20 years. And so the natural intelligence is going to continue to do its thing. And if there is going to be any type of AI, it's going to be what we call the friendly AI that knows how to merge with natural intelligence to assist humanity in their growth. So it's going to be a lot of that going on.
So one of the things that I kind of became aware of was, when I was studying meditation, I became aware that people do have the ability to have quote unquote supernatural abilities. Okay.
Yes.
I wanted to talk about that real quick. So how can people tap into their supernatural abilities? Or have you met people who have already experienced this? And what are kind of some of the realities of it? Because that's the other thing I found too. They talk about supernatural abilities on TV, but there's a lot of misconceptions. Like flying isn't really flying; it's more levitation, right? Or it's floating. I think is like the best way to put it, right?
There's a couple people out there that I'm seeing that are so tapped in that they are levitating, and I've seen them levitate with my own eyes. I've seen them levitate. It's happening in short periods of time, but it's happening. There's places on the internet that you can see where people are actually starting to use their telekinesis skills. You know what I'm saying? To be able to move objects around and things like that. A lot of that also has a lot to do with the DNA. Your DNA is going to have to upgrade. If you've been operating at a certain frequency, you got to raise your frequency. You got to expand your consciousness. But I'm going to say this again because as a person who's in this space, like, let me give you an example. I got a quantum shadow work course, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the quantum shadow work course, I literally watched the guy's vision and his sight and his hearing come online
Wow.
right in the middle of the course because he's releasing dense energy from the heart space. Remember, I told you where your gifts are stored at. They're stored in the heart space, right?
Mm.
So as he was dumping and we were dealing with some of the traumas and he was dumping that stuff out, all of a sudden his sight and his hearing came online, which had him tripping. He was like, what? Another young lady, her hearing started coming online.
Mm-hmm.
So if people want to get access to their gifts, they got to first stop thinking about it like, how can I say this? Do not approach this from a place of power.
Right, that part. Yeah, yeah.
That's the wrong mentality for anybody to have. Do not approach it from that place. Approach it from a place of, what am I going to do with these gifts? How is this going to assist humanity and not just assist myself? You can't approach this from a standpoint of service to self either. So if all your gifts came on right now, what would you be doing? If you were clairaudient, you had the ability to see, you had the ability to do all these different things, what would you be doing with your gifts?
Are you asking me? Oh,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
I would teach people how to do the same. That's what I would do. I mean, I've seen it though. Yeah, I've seen, like, I had a future vision of this 2 years ago. And it's crazy too because it was so mundane. Like, people think that, when you get superpowers, like, it's like this whole, like, superhero thing. It's not even that. Like, literally, like, we were, like, building a building. We were repairing a building. Like, it wasn't anything, it was like, people think it's this big thing. That's one of the misconceptions. It's like, it's really actually a little bit mundane. Like, it's gonna be a little bit practical, like, it's really funny. So, but yeah, but I saw my,
It's going to be folks, it's going to be the builders coming back and building pyramids again.
yeah, yeah.
It's going to be individuals that have the skill sets that we had back in the day to do all those different things with our gifts. We had so many different gifts. We could walk through walls.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't anything that was restricting us because of who we really are.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason why we're restricted now is because we were cut off by the Anunnaki. They're the ones who changed our DNA and cut us off from a lot of that stuff because they didn't want us to evolve,
Mm-hmm.
and they wanted to control and rule over humanity. Okay, but those times are changing now. That's what the sun is doing. So you live in the United States. So the sun you're dealing with in the United States is not Ra, it is Nemesis. But I know Ra is over in the Middle East right now between Israel and Gaza and Egypt. That's where he is right now. Before he was in Mexico. The sun that's over Mexico is a total different sun. The sun that's over the United States is a total different sun. So people have never even heard of it, even like from that perspective before.
But it's so true though, because, like, I have friends from, like, Somalia, and whenever, and even my friends who have visited, like, Kenya and, like, been to, like, the continent, they tell me that's the first thing they say. They say the sun is completely different. It feels different. It has
Yes.
different energy. So yeah, it speaks to what you're talking about. And then even when I told you this before, but I lived in, South America and Central America for 2 years. When I went to Thailand, it was a completely different sun. Like, my skin, it was just like, it was so much more, my skin was so much more sensitive to it. Like, I had never gotten sunburn before. When I went to Thailand, it was crazy. I think part of it is the pollution too, coming from China. But anyway, we won't get into that. But it is a completely different sun. Yeah, yeah.
And you'll even see it. You have some suns that look gold or yellow.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see some suns that look completely white. The white sun is Nemesis.
Mm.
So Nemesis can be in more than one place. Nemesis is over the countries of judgment. That has judgment coming down on them. That's where you're going to see Nemesis. And I hate to say this, but a lot of those countries are European countries.
Oh, okay.
European ran countries. That's where you're going to see Nemesis at.
Over the States? What's the sun over the States right now?
Nemesis. That is definitely Nemesis over the States. Yeah, the United States, not Dionysus right now is currently is the god that's currently over the United States right now, and he's bringing down the plagues, meaning that he's bringing down, like they got this new virus out now called listeria,
Oh.
and 2 people's already died from it, 30 people got sick from it, and now they're saying that they found it in the silk milk. You know, these quantum viruses, which is exactly what they are, they're quantum viruses, just like COVID. COVID was a quantum virus.
Mm.
Okay.
Mhm.
When they talk about long COVID, all it is that the quantum virus is still living within the person. And what people aren't being told is that that virus is going in and destroying different parts of their body.
Mhm.
Okay. Diabetes, same thing. Mononucleosis, same thing. HIV, same thing. All of them are quantum viruses. Now, you never heard it like this before because we weren't knowledgeable about that type of stuff at the time, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so we are now. There's some of us that is aware of it now. So when I have my conversation with Source about how to bring resolute to those individuals that may have been exposed to those things, now I'm getting information and downloads because I am a master programmer and I'm creating a program now to assist individuals on how to remove those quantum viruses out of the body that's still running in their body, which is causing their body to break down and cause other things to go on. See, the pharmaceutical companies make the most money from that.
Mhm.
So they don't want to cure you.
You're right.
They want to make you sicker. You see what I'm saying? You see how the system works?
Yeah.
So now we're coming out of that now. And this is what I mean when I say matrix stuff. The old way of doing things. Now we're getting back to healing our bodies because your body is a natural healing machine and has the ability to heal itself.
Yeah, and people, it's crazy because that's one of the biggest, I guess, awakenings I've had in the past couple of years. Is that, yeah, it's like we have this natural ability to heal ourselves. And even like 10 years ago, when I started going into more holistic health and holistic living, I was reading books on how to regrow your teeth. Like, people don't even, because we've been so programmed to think that, again, we have to go out in order to heal. But really, we have to go within, and we really have to start communicating with our bodies, with our cells and our bodies, right?
And you can really command your cells to start healing. And I do it all the time. If there's something going on within my body that hurts or something like that, I will command this. I will talk to the cells and command the cells to start healing. And I will give them gratitude.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, of course, right, with gratitude always. When it comes to working with the quantum, like what does that mean? What does that really entail when you talk about kind of not just quantum healing, but living in that quantum field?
Things move a lot faster than they would if you were going about things a regular way.
Okay.
So, like, for instance, people talk about shadow work, and, there is a way that you go about doing shadow work. But, like, in my case, I created what you call a quantum shadow work course. Quantum shadow work course, the way I teach it, it gives you the ability to heal from your wounds and your traumas a lot faster than it normally would because of the techniques and the things that I use in order for us to get there. So what might take you 2-3 years to heal, you might heal from it in 6 months. So quantum means you're just quantifying, it's moving faster, move way faster. When you're doing quantum healing in the body, you're going to heal a whole lot faster than you would, let's say, if you're going about the regular way. Now, we have done surgeries without having to cut people.
Wow.
We have done that type of work. We've worked on people who have had cancer. And it assists people to help get rid of those cancer cells by working with crystals and utilizing crystal laser technology. You know what I'm saying? People are like, how the hell are you doing that? I said, well, you got to train.
Mm-hmm.
But you'll feel the stitches and everything. You got to understand there's 5 different bodies. You got your physical body, that's 1. Your ethereal body, that's 2. Your astral body, your celestial body, and then your spiritual body. That's 5.
Mm-hmm.
So you have 5 different bodies. People get caught up in the shell, but they're not realizing all the different bodies that exist within the shell. So when I'm going in to work on you, I'm not focused on the outside. It's what's going on inside of your body that I'm focusing on. Because remember, when you're dealing with anything pertaining to sickness, it first affects the other bodies and then comes out and affects the outer body. It's not affects the outer body and then it affects the inner body. It's actually the other way around. Okay, they inverted it for us to make us think the exact opposite. Okay, everything is inverted in this world. So when it comes to working on individuals, like we had one lady who had who was about to have a stroke, and we went in and did some work on her to remove the blockages of one of her bodies. We caught it just in time.
Wow.
She never had the stroke. She went to the doctors, that thing was cleaned out, and the doctor was trying to figure out what was going on. Okay, those miracles that people talk about when they said, oh, one day the cancer was gone, or one day I was praying, or I had a serious prayer team. Well, let's go on. Let me talk to you about that prayer team. Your prayer team was operating on you in the quantum realm to do the necessary things to remove things out of your body. Angels have the ability to do that. I was trained by the angels. I didn't get trained by humans. I got trained by beings and deities and source.
Yeah, that's beautiful. It's like, it's the truth, right? And we're so like, I think, yeah, I think the powers, especially in the States, they do a good job of like shielding people from these truths that like my friends from like China, they already know. It's
Yeah.
crazy. Like one of my friends, I was having some issues with my knee, and so she literally did an X-ray to see my organs. She can do an X-ray just energetically. And I'm just like, this is like incredible because literally the
Yeah.
tools that doctors are using are actually harmful. Like when you do an X-ray, you're being exposed to radiation. Like, so it's just like
That is
really
correct.
crazy how we've been programmed to I guess, I don't want to put this. We've been programmed to believe in these things that are actually, that's what's really killing us. It's like, it's not, it's not, they're not helping us. It's actually killing us.
There's like a string. There's like a screen that comes down. So there's like, for me, it's like a screen comes down from my first thoughts, like a screen comes down. And I'm going to put your body, one of your bodies on that screen, and I'm going to see on a 3D model. It spins around like this, or you're spinning around. I'm able to look at you and say, okay, you could be sitting on the bed. You ain't moving. Okay, you sitting over here. If I had snatched one of your bodies and put it up right here over here, and you don't even realize that's what I did. Now I'm looking at you, seeing exactly what's going on with you, and I may ask you a series of questions. You're like, yeah, that's exactly what's going on because of this and this and this and that and that and this and this. I say, okay, cool. That's all I need to see because I'm seeing this, and this is the reason why you're going through this, and this needs to be corrected here, and we need to reconnect this here, and you got some bad wiring over here, so we got to go in and get you some new firmware and put that in the whole nine. It's very real. So when I'm working with my clients to do quantum healing, it's just like that. And some of my friends who are doctors really trip out off of that. They're like, are you serious right now? I said, you have the power to do the same thing. You're just trained to do this other stuff. They disconnected you from self.
Yeah, like it's like they're supposed to be doing that work, but they're not tapped into the right. I don't want to say it's not the right way. Okay, everybody has their own way, but they're not tapped into like the truth of the work that they're here to do. Right? I think that's how I put it. Okay, so sorry. Last question before we head out, because I know it's not time where you're at. So where do you see yourself expanding from here?
I got a cosmic school I'm working on right now that's being built down here. We're going to be teaching how to build things from a whole different perspective. We're going to be teaching things so much. There's so much that people are going to be taught in this cosmic school that people from all over the world will attend this school. This school already was created already in the quantum realm. I actually have people that I know right now whose higher selves are in my school right now, and I'm currently teaching and training them right now. So they'll be like, I was dreaming, and I saw you in the classroom, and you were teaching us about quantum mechanics. I said, yeah, that's about right. That sounds about right. So those things have already been built in the other realms, and now what's happening is they're coming down here onto this realm. That's how it works. So like when you see, like a lot of people don't know, when you see certain things that have been established here for a long period of time, I need people to understand how that even came to be, because those things are created in different dimensions first. And then as they're created in different dimensions, then they begin to start forming down here on this earth. That's how it starts. So like, for instance, the Vatican's been around since the old world. People don't have no idea how long the Vatican's been around. The Vatican has been around, girl, for I don't even know how many eons of years the Vatican has actually been around. Okay? And the first pope they ever had was a great pope because he was an alien gray.
Okay.
Right. Okay. And then also, the Vatican sets over the temple of the Sibyls. The Sibyls were goddesses, very powerful goddesses here on earth that had specific missions to do certain things. Okay. So that Vatican sits directly over the temple because they're harnessing the divine feminine energy, which is the reason why you see the men walking around in what? The Catholic Church. What do you see them wearing? Dresses. Okay. So they're replacing they're putting themselves in the divine feminine energy to harness the divine feminine energy. But when you go down to their basement, you're going to see the shrine of the Black Madonna there. And you're going to see that's who the Pope was worshiping and talking to on a daily basis.
That makes so much sense, though. Yeah, it's. Yeah, they do this in other places in the world, but that's gonna be a conversation for another show. I think that's because I know once we get into that, that's gonna be another hour. Okay.
Oh yeah, that's definitely. I was basically just touching on just a little bit of it. You know what I'm saying, in terms of just how these systems work, in terms of things that you see that don't seem to ever go away. It's because those things were built in a different realm first before they came down here, before they manifested here. So in my case, my school will be here long after I leave from here, and it's going to continue to keep doing what it's supposed to do.
That's dope.
Which is to train humanity and get humanity to tap into their gifts. That school will help people tap into their gifts and bring themselves back to their totality in terms of who they really are.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, it's such a dope, like, I mean, we all reincarnated during this time for a reason. Okay, yeah, okay. But it's so dope because we are, like, really experiencing this transformation. And it's just a really cool opportunity to just be here at this moment. You have so much, like, it's like a wealth of knowledge on your channel. Like, that's why I reached out to you too, because I was just like, whoa, like, this woman is, like, really giving, like, truth to people. And I really appreciate the work that you do and the fact that you are able to present yourself on YouTube and really talk about these things that, we don't hear from a lot of people. And when I say a lot, I mean very, 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 very few. Okay. So I'm going to tell people to go to your YouTube channel anyway, because it's just like, it's incredible.
Let me ask you a question. When it comes to your feeling, are you able to feel presences around you? Do you feel spirit when spirit comes around you? Are you able to feel these things?
So I hear a lot of stuff. So I'll hear frequencies. I'll hear the frequencies, and then I'm communicating with my ancestors. And usually, if I hear something like somebody speaking in my head too, I also hear a frequency. Does that make sense? Like,
yes.
Yeah. So I'm very like clairaudient. So I'll hear frequencies like all the time, and I'm saying frequencies because it's on a spectrum, right? I don't hear the same frequency every time. Like one time I was actually you probably know this, in San Jose del Pacifico in Mexico, and our guide was talking about elves, right? That there's elves in the forest. I didn't see the elves, but I could hear this totally new frequency that I hadn't heard before, and I was like, whoa! And I looked. I tried to look for it, but I couldn't see anything. But anyway. So I'm very clairaudient. And then telepathy too is very easy for me.
But what about your feeling?
When I'm at the beach, when I'm in the water, and my heart is like shining, yeah, I'll feel it then. But that's it right now.
Let me test something on you real quick before I start this process on you, because part of it's going to require you to feel.
Oh, okay.
I need one dragon to come forth, please, right now. And I need you to stand behind this young lady right here. And I want you to tell me if you feel the presence behind you.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, sorry. I closed my eyes and I started seeing eyes, but do you know what I mean? I think you know what I mean, right? Okay. So I'm gonna.
Yeah, because the dragon that's behind you is yours. Okay. Okay, dragon. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to do an energetic cleanse on her by utilizing your flames. I'm going to count from 5. And when I say boom, you may start. You tell me what you're feeling. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom! Let me know if you're feeling any heat or if you're feeling some cool energy, if you're feeling anything at all.
Yeah, so I feel coolness in like my lower legs and my knees.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I think yeah, so I'm feeling it mostly in my lower legs and my knees. But I think there's something that I need to release. And I think it's
Yes.
fear. I think that's the end of the day.
Yeah.
I need to release fear.
That'll change once you're fully on. If you're not able to hear what's actually being said, you're not fully online yet.
Hmm.
You
Okay,
got to
so
be able
then
to hear fluent. If you're not, are you hearing fluent conversations?
what do you mean? Like,
Fluent, a fluent conversation. In other words, are you able to have a fluent conversation with whatever it is that you're hearing?
mm, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I've always talked to myself, I don't know how else to put it.
Your ancestors, are you able to have a fluent conversation with them and you hear a fluent conversation back? Just like we're talking right now.
Yeah, but I haven't fully tapped into that, I guess. That's like I'll be like like I'll ask for help or support with something and then I'll receive an answer. I'll be like, okay, cool, and then I kind of go on my merry way. It's never like a one like a back and forth thing, but I think it's more on my end because I haven't.
We're going to do a test.
Oh, okay.
The first thing I want you to do is I just kind of want you to relax while she's cleaning you off.
Okay.
I want you to tell me what else you're feeling and where you're feeling it at, because I'm paying attention to the fact that you're not you're not feeling from anything from the waist up. That's a sign that you're disconnected from your heart space to some degree.
Mm.
I want you to tell me if you're able to feel anything, any place else on your body besides where you told me.
Oh, so now I feel like my hands, but they're together. I mean, I don't think this doesn't matter, but my hands, and then I see those eyes again.
That's your dragon.
Okay.
And just so you know, the dragon is you. You have a dragon aspect.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So I have a friend. She taps into that realm, and she told me that, but she doesn't. She just sees it, and then that's it. I don't think she's as like knowledgeable about the aspects and all of that like you are. So that's really cool. Okay, cool. Um, but yeah, and then my throat. There was like, but I know this, so I know this. But there's definitely like.
Your throat chakra is definitely closed off because you don't express yourself when you're supposed to.
Mm,
I'm seeing all of it up in here. That's telling me that you have been suppressing some things. You're an open person, you speak, but are you being truly 100% authentic about how you really feel about things? When people say something to you and it offends you, how do you deal with that?
oh, I don't say anything because like it's okay. Like it's like there.
No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. That's not no.
So I'm supposed to tell them like speak my mind. I'm really supposed to do that.
Yes, yes, that's the reason why you have all this, and that's the reason why you're not feeling like you're supposed to, baby. That's part of it.
But isn't that the opposite of like what we should do? Like,
No. I know what you're going to say because I was there. I get it. But when you suppress yourself and you're not taking the time out to express yourself, baby, that shit goes into your heart space and it creates density in your heart space. Of course, you're supposed to express how you feel. It's about you valuing yourself and setting boundaries for people whenever you deal with them. That's what it's about. You have to be able to express. You have to be able to express you, and you have to. That's how you grow.
yeah, but like I don't want to be judgmental, like because I feel like everybody has their own version.
Like, you're not being judgmental, but you damn sure can check a person if they get on a line with you. Who's being judgmental?
Cause like that's their lesson to learn. Oh, like it's just like.
Oh no! Oh no, ma'am! No, ma'am! No, ma'am! Because now what you're doing is you're neglecting yourself.
Mm. But I don't want to get caught up. No, I don't. I don't want to get caught up in the negative energy.
Don't try to justify it. Don't try to justify it. You've been justifying for too long. You've been justifying for too long that you're so used to justifying, child. You're not supposed to ever justify you suppressing your voice. First of all, you got a beautiful voice. Second of all, you have a voice that has the ability to heal, and people need to hear you more.
Yeah.
All this up in here, that's not good. That's not a positive thing, baby. That's why the dragon's working on you now to try to help you open your voice up, because, baby, you got to express your voice. You have to let your voice be heard. Your voice can be healing to others. I want you to take the time out to really start taking value into you. You don't allow nobody to disrespect you. You don't allow nobody to mistreat you. You learn how to start setting boundaries. These things are important. This is a part of the healing process of one learning how to love oneself. But don't you ever suppress yourself from nobody, because people ain't suppressing themselves from you when they hurt you, are they? Something to think about.
Yeah, but I don't want to get caught up like in the negative energy loop. Like,
It's not, you're not being caught up in the negative energy. Listen, I can have a conversation with you right now and you offend me, right? Let's say something happens and you offend me. I would say to you, okay, look, I understand this, this, and this, and this, but you offended me. Listen to the tone. I'm not yelling. I'm not raising my voice. I'm not screaming at anyone. I'm having a conversation with you, right? I'm letting you know that you hurt my feelings. I don't need to scream the top of my lungs to let you know you hurt my feelings. Okay. Now, we would like to think that people are inherently good. So sometimes a person can hurt your feelings and not realize that's what they're doing. So if the person really cares about you, they're going to adjust. They're going to apologize. What you need to be concerned about is those who don't adjust and those who don't apologize. Those individuals are the ones you need to watch out for and remove out of your life. It's not, but you're not dwelling in any kind of negativity. I just want to make sure that you make sure, because you're in the space of using your voice a lot.
yeah,
But when I saw that in your throat space, when I saw that in your throat chakra, that let me know, okay, this is where the blockages are coming from.
yeah.
And you may have felt the need to release, and releasing is good because that's how you get rid of the density.
Yeah. So I know it's my throat and then probably my stomach too, but it's I don't say it's fine, but it's cool. I'm aware of it, so I'm working on it more intentionally.
Speak your voice, babe. Speak your voice. Speak your voice. You're going to be okay. Continue down the path that you're going, because this is what you're supposed to be doing.
Oh yeah, I know that for sure. Like I was like, I love my life now because it's like for so long we hide. Well, I guess I don't know if you maybe you experience this. I don't know, but yeah, we hide for so long, and so it's really great to just be.
How is it in Bali? How is it over? How is it over in Bali? I'm going to visit one day. I'm going to be visiting real soon.
Oh, me too. The energy is off the charts here. The spiritual energy.
I keep hearing that. I keep hearing it over and over again, and over and over and over again.
Yeah. No, but like it's crazy because even the first like week that I was in Bali, I met a guy who it was crazy. The first day actually I was here, I was told this information that I think a lot of people miss when they come here. Um, Enlightened beings come here for the energy. Like it's really the energy is super high end. It's part of the reason why I came here, relocated here. Um, and it's because of these volcanoes. They have a very beautiful relationship, and so I think that's where a lot of the energy comes from. And I guess you could get into like the connection volcanoes have with the core of the earth and all, or I guess the core, we put that in quotes. But anyway, so it's just like so this is part of it. But they're in this relationship, and I think that's part of what makes this island so magical. And then also we're in the Ring of Fire, right? So there's like a lot of stuff going on even outside of the island, but I think this island is kind of the pinnacle of that ring, and so the energy here is it's on another level. It's really crazy. It's really crazy. So you definitely need to visit at some point. Let me know too, because there's certain places and locations in Bali that tourists don't go to where the energy is even more. So Ahmed is one of the places that I always recommend people who are spiritual practitioners, put that in quotes, right? But Ahmed is one of the most powerful places on this island, and a lot of people don't go there because it's so far from Ubud. Everybody goes to Ubud, and Ubud is great, but again, the first day I was here, my friend told me, he was like, the enlightened beings, they don't go to Ubud, they go closer to the volcanoes and to the mountains because they know that's where the power is. So anyway.
Yeah, it is. And that's real talk. I was going to ask you, have you been by the volcanoes? Have you gotten some of the earth there from the volcanoes or things like that? It's very healing. They have a lot of minerals. That's healing for the body there at the volcanoes. So what that guy told you was correct.
Yeah. So again, but it's my life. Like I just, cause I'm curious. So I have these conversations with people. So I never I don't want to say, I never seek it. It just comes to me. And then usually a couple years later, I'm like, oh, like that's actually hella useful. But yes, everything happens for a reason. But yeah, so last time I was here, I spent 2 months right next to the volcano, like right next to it. I woke up every morning, I saw the volcano and the sunrise. Like it was like, it's so beautiful. Like I love it. I love it.
But it seems like it was healing too. It had to be healing for you being in that area.
Yeah, I mean, like, but I always said, like, I like a good view. So, like, for me, a view is everything, right? Do you have any last words for the audience before we head out?
Yeah, if you guys want to find me, log on to come check me out on my website, isiswisdom.com. If you're interested in getting some quantum healing needs, I'm here for you in that regard. My YouTube channel, I am the realest to ever do it. My Instagram, same name, I am the realest to ever do it, as well as TikTok, I'm the realest to ever do it. If you guys need to find me, that's where you're going to find me at. That's all I want to display is just to let people know how to reach me or how to find me.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so thank y'all so much for listening, and I'll see y'all next week. Peace.